arrived at very shortly.
The same question I would like to ask Bakit Borlang Nongrem. Nongrem, State Youth President of the NPP. What is your take, sir, on the exit poll predictions?
Right now, it's really unexpected, as we have predicted during this last 1 month. Actually, from the party, we expect that we will come in a very high number of the MLA to win this time, but thing has changed. So, yes, we do expect that the party is again leading the government, be it now it's not come to the conclusion. We'll see after the result come out. But we still have a high hope that as a party, we again lead the government again in this 2023.
So are you happy, my question to you is, are you happy with what the polls have so far till this time, the results that have been declared? Are you happy with the results so far?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we have to accept the mandate of the people.
Very well said. I'll move on to Ba Aristotle Lingdo, well-known columnist. What is your take on the exit poll predictions?
On the exit poll, I would say that this exit poll was done not by the local media. It was done by the outside media like the India Today. So the background of this exit poll, they have not even conducted any survey, physical survey, but they have just based their estimate on the strength of the existing NPP MLAs and those who have a sitting MLA who have joined the NPP. So based on that, they have assumed that the NPP will get the maximum number, but it has not up to that expectation because So Young, there is no NPP candidate there, and others constituency also. So on the result that it may come out, I think there's no doubt that there will be a hung assembly. That is for sure. We have seen by common sense, we have seen that a hung assembly in the past, and for the years to come also, I think there will be a hung assembly in our state. As other members also, they have point out that a fracture mandate. So that is what I observe.
Do you think it also has to do with the amount of supporters that seem to be, the amount of supporters that are supporting a certain candidate? Do you think that that also is a sort of a prediction?
The amount of support, what supporters?
The supporters of a certain party, they seem to be. Do you think they look from the masses
they will
as well?
support. The supporters of a particular party or candidate, they will support their party, their candidate, because here we don't follow any ideology. They just follow a person, they like a person, they follow a person, they like the party, they follow a party. So there is no question that the supporters may change.
No, what I'm saying, do you think the prediction of the exit poll has something to do from what you have observed by the amount of supporters also? It might not just be a statistical take.
I don't think so.
All right. So I think the same question, well said, sir, there. I think I would like to ask Ba'lo Shailingwa, member of the INC, the same question.
Well, the exit poll, as spoken by the earlier panelists, it is being based by the national media and their observation. And basically, most of these exit polls, they take into consideration the existing member of the last government, which it shouldn't be so, because the aspiration of the people, basically, they wanted change. And of course, there will be a mixed mandate. There will be a hung parliament, a hung government. But then now we'll have to concentrate after the result on the coalition partners who will form the government, because as far as we expect that the people of the state this time, they wanted change. Take into consideration one of the new party like the Voice of the People party, how they come up, and the amount of vote share that I've seen this morning is incredible. Basically, that is expected from the people of the state.
Yeah, so I think that was well said. Now, again, coming back, maybe I'll come to Sir Solomon again. And I would ask that maybe to each and every one of you. I'll keep the floor open. You know, Mr. A.L. Heck had on Wednesday predicted that no party absolutely will get more than 15 seats. So do you agree?
That is a rather difficult question to answer to, because numbers are magical, and the early trends of the election results do not essentially point to this fact.
So, sir, till now, if you look at the numbers till now,
Yeah.
what do you think? Can there be some prediction, some truth to what has been stated by Heck?
You know, I think so. There could be a party or two parties which could get more than 15 seats each in the new assembly. More than 15. Less than 15, no, but there could be one or two parties which could get more than 15 seats.
Okay. So I'd like to ask the same question to Dr. P.M. Pasat. What is your takes on what Bahek has said, that no party will get more than 15 seats?
If you could recollect the last election of 2018,
Yes.
see, BJP won only 2 seats,
Yes.
but it has a big say on the formation of the state government. This time too, the party expect more seat than 2. Is expecting 6, between 6 and 10. So naturally, BJP will have a big role in the formation of the government after the result.
Yeah, but his prediction is that he's talking about the other parties, which I will go to the other spokesperson as well. He said other parties will not get more than 15. So what is the BJP's take on that?
Well, it is difficult to say, to predict how many seats each party will get. For instance, you see I agree that most of the agencies which predicted the result are coming from outside. They don't know the reality on the ground. For instance, the big TV didn't predict the result for other party except the UDP. I mean to say, this is the only agency which predicted the position of the UDP in this election. Others agency didn't pay any attention to the UDP. So therefore, it's difficult to say whether your question is, it's a good question. BJP really will indeed play a big role in the formation of the government. But who will be the parties? Who will be the party will be joined in the coalition government?
So ngan kali ka ju jing kali iba Dr. Fabian do hatu pi ya ha ba ka jing ong ba hek ba kanom dan kanunu ka party ru ka banyo palat iki khat san seat ha ka ni election ba ka ka ba pi dan dong.
Kata kadai ka prediction jong personal prediction jong ba hek daga expectation bakan one ka fractured mandate membalami ibun ki party, it may be true or may not. Nimla aban ay final conclusion ka result kan sa hikdawi tamba it may be true or maybe not. Katakan let's say gawi ga result pada kali like da kumway tanga suang that is his personal prediction. Tambah ke point out ke jumut jung golong ba there shall be a fractured mandate king.
Te ka ju ka jing kali ngan chimi ba Allen Tree de khar ru ka ju iba hek I ong ba kanom dan kanu ka party ka banyo palat iki khat san seat ha ka ni election hatu pi sungu ya ha ba ka jing ong ni ka jing perkhat ka jong pi ha ka ta ka bentang.
Lihat nomor pa kajing predict bahek kalau long thick kum ke exit poll. Like I said, exit poll. The results are waiting to be heard now. So I don't think so. Bahek has the expertise to predict.
Ngan ya si ba kit bor lang nong dan. Kay ka ba fi ba fi sungo halo jang ta ka prediction ka bi ong kanum dan kanuno ka party ka banyo pala di khat san seat.
Ngam ya hap ru embat kan ka jing ong ba het. Namar ba tapi pe ki leading seat ba pi im ta screen ru. KMPP ka let mentai palat ar pholai ro so seat. Te hoi ka kum ka expectation jongi ka khlem long kum ta. Namar ngi expect palat ya kalai peuru tenre
Ban tiat ngin hab ban chu sangi in ngin le Jowai menta. There is a report coming in from Jowai. Yeah. Paul from Jowai.
Ready. Okay. I'm joined now with Masla Bhalang, who is the winning candidate from One North Yankos. Check signal.
We'll be coming back to him, so we'll just continue with what we were talking. We'll be coming back to Jowai. Pilaban, continue back.
Cũng ta hi cũng ba kajing kali pi ong ba ihap ne amat kajing ong jong ba dengan nakalian juga ngam so ihap em nomor ba kanom la man long hiru ta ngingin palat ya ka khat sunset kum ba prediksi ba he ya kata daw lo kata jing kali kalau kata ka prediction jong ba he nakalian juga so ong ba kanom la long ta
Ba Aristotle?
There is some amount of truth on what Bahek said. Kadon kajing sisa khendiat. Ya ka ege Bahek ong namar ba kajing wan mi ki party ki batmai artili. Baladang ipet ya ka past experience. Looking to the past experience, you see the major political party ka ba one bone that secure more votes in the state comes from Garo Hills.
Correct.
So in Garo Hills, maybe one TMC or NPP may cross the 15 marks. So what Bahek said on that ground is not correct, but based on past experience is not correct, but based on the present situation, it may be correct because of the new entrant of BPP like
parties.
BPP and postponement of the Soyong constituency.
Correct.
So in one way I can agree with Bahek ngala ban yahap khendian because Bahek is a man on the field. So a player knows what happened on the ground. So we are just observers. So he knows, he might have some discussion, he knows his friend, he knows his voters. So there's some amount of truth.
Okay. Then I'll move on to Ba Luar Shailingwa. Atau PP yang munjur ba kata ka.
Ya ka i ka ba bi ong Bahek ba mran ka party ka bantam ne ka ban poisha ka khatsan seat. Ya menta ka di ka scheme result dengan puak syuk bani discuss ke exit poll ke ni yang ke opinion ke jong way MLA ha jing shisha nangi baro ki political parties ngina persiang ban set ya ki candidate sabaro ki constituency kali yang congress ngina set up ya ki candidate sabaro dupu li constituency tinggi expect bagi
Ba anjat ngan haban hot iping ngan habib yang su Jowai. We're going back to Jowai with we're connecting with Paul Lamare, our correspondent, who is in Jowai right now.
Hello, Kasam. I'm joined now with the four-time winning candidate of One Northern constituency, Masna Bhalanghar. We'll have a full chat with him and find out what are his ideas or his message to the people of One Northern Jowai. Can you tell us what is your message to the people of One Northern?
Number one, I would like to thanks to my people for electing me for the last 4 terms continuously. And my prerogative is first of all, let us get a stable government and do best for our people, and at the same time for people who state as a whole.
As one of the senior most and a politician for 4 times now, what is your most top priority for One Northern constituency?
Actually, even One Northern's development is already in place. So many people are there, but still needed, like the water sector, the road sector, the health sector, and the power sector extra.
With regard, NPP has few things in line, especially with the border issue. What is your take on this?
Number one, that we will try to resolve it at the earliest possible if we form in the government.
Lastly, depending on the conditions of the Natyang, looking at the development, what is the topmost thing has to be taken in Natyang now?
Also now in Natyang, you see, development is all type of developments are there. So I'm yet to improve for the old one. I'm yet to go for the new university one also. There are so many universities.
We have seen the election this time that NPP might not come.
Okay, that was our correspondent from Jowai, Paul Lamare. Ting Yuan Pai sa studio, but let's see iba in nangyay beteng kay binang ong.
Right. Kani ka po rin ngam kwa ban underestimate ya kanu no party ro. To go back to 2018 when we the INC got the largest number of seats, maximum number of seats, but we weren't able to form the government. So even if NPP get the majority, and I mean the maximum number of seats and not the majority, you cannot say that it can form the government this time. It depends on the power of these other parties, especially the new parties, who will dictate term this time in forming the government.
Kajengkili babut jonga kalong ya bakit bor lang nong rem. Jongka NPP na markadon kami ka statement jongka NPP. But haki election rally ki bla ada perosh kata ki ong ba ka NPP kan yo ka absolute majority. Ba kata ka kedo ba kan don ka single party government ha Meghalaya mentakasin. Tapi kum nong mi khmat jongka NPP ki ka ba pidon man ong. Ba kata ka jo jengklian kili ki panelist ro.
Hoit kata ka degas jing sisha. Ban kalian jong iru habang ipet ya ka respon jong ipet ba haman ki konstitusi ngi don ki jing kermen kum tahi. Tinata kadau mending ala ong ba kai ka babi menta ka result ka barang yat menta ka don sisha kata ka jing kalah ki babun ki konstitusi ka bangi expect ban job. Tinggal nom mention ni kita te henrei haka pakut hi jong kas jing kalai ka bot sibet ni hapan agree bet ya ki hapan hun bet ya ka eba ki pat ba ki ai ya ka support ya ka parti ka juni
Tin ba kumunong mi khmat jong ka party jong fi ko ong bakan don bet tang ka we ka party ka ban form ka government. Ti hat kat kum kata ka jing sngo jong fi kata ka long basisha kata ka la ban long ha ka Meghalaya mentakasin.
Hoi na kata-kata nga ong ba kata ka di jing kermen ka jungi mo kum ka parti ngi trisi tom pan penjob ka parti berladala ka di ka jing angnut sisa bangin donno ka single party government nomor ba tang nadu 1972 ngiyo ya ka government ka patang ka parti te handre hadu menta kamut ngimpat yo te imat wat menta ru imat kum ba ka kedeu ka result barang yat menta imat kum ba nginom la hi pan pois kata ka thong te ke ka bangadon ban ong te ngan osu sakum no nomor bahaka pakut de ki paj bah ki badon ka por no pan rai te ngi hap hun satahi.
Then maybe I'll go to Dr. PM Pasa from the BGP. Kaya ka ba pipisngo halwa jong ka statement jong ka NPP ba there will be a single party that will form the government this time in Meghalaya.
I will stick to what I feel. Till now, it is difficult to say unless the full result is coming out. We have to look at the Garo Hills region. What party will come to the fore? If NPP again came back as the largest party, then perhaps MDA government may come back and it may change also in terms of the allies of the MDA. That's what I could say now.
Okay. Tingin niya si ba Alan Tri Dekan naka UDP kung ka statement ka NPP ba ki ang tangkawi ka party confirm ka government ba kay ka ba pipis ngo ano ta to kata kala ban ka jing siya ha Meghalaya mentakasin.
Nan dapat nagilit sa pamenta te kata ka dumlong ka jing siya namar ba kumala krani ba nongrem kata kata tang ka jingkermen jong ka NPP tang ba karay pat ba hite ka de bo kado. So there's no likelihood ba
so there is no truth to that statement.
Yeah.
Okay. Ba luar siya naka Congress.
Kata ni tanga expectation jong ka NPP kan henry kung mangi imantang kadi ka mixed mandate the como pe ik result kat bang yang pe ik deeds como ang I ba alan 3 ni I kan de fractured mandate the kamang anong concern pa rather than you know the expectations of any of the parties, even our party have got high hopes and high expectations, but then we cannot come to conclusion until the last vote is being counted.
So, but then what do you think? Do you think one party can make it to form a government this time?
Just like I said, it will be a fractured mandate, so you will not get a single largest party or the majority who will reach the simple majority. So there will be a coalition government.
Okay. Sir Solomon, what is your take on that statement? Will there be one party that can actually make it to form the government?
No.
Any
No,
more
madam.
views on that?
I have no views, but you see, the point is, this is the age of coalitions. We have not essentially evolved to a two-party system like in some of the bigger states like Tamil Nadu or perhaps Maharashtra or UP or perhaps Delhi. You know, you see the trends there. There are two-party systems. Either one comes into power, the other gets out of power. The history of coalition governments in our state is there to see, and the only wish for me essentially is that perhaps, you know, that if a coalition government is formed, because there will be a fractured mandate, if a coalition government comes into power, perhaps I think so it has to look forward for what it has to do in the short term, the medium term and the long term for the people of Meghalaya and for the state.
Correct. But Aristotle, to you.
You see, I consider that statement that only NPP will form as a single largest party. It's a political rhetoric, as to say, or a tactics, political tactics, just to draw voters and to downplay others. Tengah shim bagani ke statement jongki kam dade kaba long kaba don kam hadu kata begini perkhat nomor ba kadi tangga buj politics jongki bakin draw ben penting kipai ba ban pen beat ban tip kipai ba lesi kipai ba rukin sngo all day kala ban form tinginnya let lut shata ber it's a political strategy, so I consider it in that way. The most probably I see that whoever comes out more in number from Garu Hills, that party will lead the government. I consider is in this situation, I think I would put, if not the MDA 2.0, I will put the NPP, Team NPP or Team TMC.
Okay.
Because the East Kazil, we already fractured. So they will go to either of these two.
Okay. So I will come back to you, Aristotle, with the next question, the next point of view that we would like to discuss at this point in time. We are all, I think we are in agreement in this room that not a single party cannot form the government even this time in Meghalaya. That's a common view. So that means a coalition will happen. I think that is the prediction of this room at this point in time. Now let's look at the history of coalition government in Meghalaya. What is your take from your experience as a columnist? What has been the history of coalition government in Meghalaya?
You see, Meghalaya pioneered coalition politics in India in the 1978. So from that time onward, we have remained as a coalition state, and no government except in one or two cases. We are a coalition state. So I think this we have to carry with this culture for quite some time. From this election also we will have a coalition government, even in the next also, because I don't see any meaningful political party that will come up ideologically to where the people can overwhelmingly vote for that ideology. So it's difficult to say that the single largest party will form a government in the state. That is my view. So we will have a coalition government in the state for the current situation, and in 2-3 election also maybe in the coming years.
Okay. So I'd like to ask Solomon the same question.
The question is essentially the formation of coalition governments. Yes, I mean coalition governments essentially, I mean if you look, I mean all over the world. I mean, you look at Japan, you look at West Germany, you look at most countries in the world, in Malaysia, you go down to Southeast Asia, you go across to Oceania, you go across to the Americas, Latin America. Coalition governments essentially exist and have existed for more than half a decade in most of these areas. But essentially the difference is essentially the worldview of the parties that form the coalition. If they have a worldview and the ideologies essentially are evolved, perhaps the team coalition can work for the betterment. We essentially need team players in the coalition that perhaps will work with a common understanding to essentially set targets in the short term, the medium term, and long term, as I said, to see that essentially we, a geographically landlocked state, essentially have to evolve out of the philosophy that essentially we can take care of ourselves. We have to essentially evolve a worldview when the coalition government forms.
Correct. Now, talking on this line, so I would like to ask you again, supposing now that we're saying that a coalition government will happen, what will happen if a coalition government happens? Do you think issues like the ILP and the CAA will take a back seat?
No, essentially these are issues which have to be studied in depth and essentially cannot be rabble rousers. You know, these issues of the ILP or the CAA or the MRSSA or various other acts and things essentially are not issues that are to be discussed. They are to be essentially raised up from the ground, pondered upon, studied, then brought back to the people, have a worldview on them, see how it affects relations throughout the neighboring states and the whole of the Indian Union, as we essentially are under the Constitution of India, so that essentially it is a safeguard if they are brought into an act, essentially, if they essentially are finally put on the ground, essentially are used for the betterment of the state.
Yes, okay, so we're going back to Jowai, to Bapor Lamare, who is live from Jowai.
I'm standing in one of nearby the DC office where the security by the police department has been disciplined, as well as the audience are also quite around here are quite well disciplined, well behaved. And as for the result, all this except Amlaran, which is still going on with the round 5 and 6, also as well as the postal ballot. Overall, what we can say now is that the sitting MLAs of one Nartiang, which is already declared by Mr. Halang, 2 July, Wailat Miki is coming back again, 3 Raliang again coming one, that is also from NPP, and 4 Mokayao, that also which has a triangular fight between NPP, INC and UDP. The chances is still the UDP will come back from 4 Mokayao constituency. As we just seen, a crowd are around me, around all over nearby the DC office, where police personnel are along guarding and checking all this incidents so that it can be smooth running, and people participation also will be in a very disciplined behavior manner. This is Paul Lamari, cameraman from West Jaintia Hills District.
Okay, so that is the latest that we're getting from Jowai. I would like to ask Alan Tridakar, at what you saw in Jowai just now, the strength of the UDP. What is your take on what we just saw just now?
It was on expected lines, except that Raliang constituency, that came as a surprise because the trend was indicative of a different result. So these are the surprises that elections treat us to.
Correct.
And therefore, while reverting back to where we started from, exit polls remain exit polls. Will still be a lot of surprises coming up.
Yes. And I have to say with that, I think that the topsy-turvy nature of elections always leaves things to chance, as you said, you know. And while one candidate may appear very, very strong initially, calculations of a cosmic nature may turn the entire thing upside down. We don't know. And as Sir rightly said just now, well, anyway, we're still out there, still looking for what the votes will eventually come out with, what the results will eventually come out with. Well, as we can see now, INC leads with 5, AITC leads also. Anyway, so coming back to, we will again be giving you some more updates. Coming back to Sir Solomon, when we're talking about the same topic, that will ILP and CEA take a backseat if a coalition government happen? Once they come into power, will they forget all about the ILP, the CEA and very important issues?
No, I don't think so. There are issues which are to be put on a back burner if a new coalition government comes into being. These are issues which are live and essentially have formed the manifestos of most of the parties. But essentially, the deliberations have to be very clear, and they have to essentially have a lot of inputs, legal inputs, social inputs, constitutional inputs, so that essentially, if it is put on the ground, essentially it is put, and it is essentially acts again, as I said, as a safeguard to essentially help in the development of the state of Meghalaya.
I'd like to ask Dr. P.M. Prasad the same question. Supposing a coalition comes into power again, again it's a coalition government that is formed, do you think issues like ILP and the CEA will take a back seat?
Well, these issues will continue to be alive. You see, every party, you can recall that the Meghalaya Assembly had decided unanimously that ILP must be implemented in the state. If Manipur, which is far away from the mainland, is given the ILP benefit, perhaps Meghalaya might also deserve to have this, this law in its state. It depends on the wisdom of the coming coalition government, which even all leaders of all parties are expected to be a coalition government. So let's see how its wisdom will tackle these issues.
But so what do you think will be the BJP stand on that? Because there's a lot of prediction that BJP will definitely be in the coalition government even this time. So what will be the BJP stance?
Yes, even BJP also would like that LLP must be implemented in the state of Meghalaya. As I said, if Manipur could, if this could be implemented in Manipur state, well, Meghalaya, which is very much in the, in the midst of the northeast, they feel that it may be implemented.
Okay, so Dr. Fabian, what is your take on that? Do you think it will take a backseat?
From the TMC, we have declared in the manifesto that we will look into these matters, serious issues in the society. It may not be the ILP, but the reason why ILP is demanded. We have to make a TMC is a new party. We take this as a challenge. Researchers, discussions, negotiations will take place to the viability of implementing the ILP, or what are the reasons behind the demand of ILP. That if we remove those situation cause of fear factor, or maybe there is really some encouragement, we'll see to it. But the cause is not ILP, but the fear of being empowered, the fear of being taken away the rights of the tribals. All this we'll look into. That is the ideology of the party. The interests of the tribals have to be protected. At the same time, we cannot protect all alone without proper relationships, good relationships with other communities around us.
I think I'd like to go to Sir Solomon again. I'll be coming to the other panelists. What Fabian said just now, that the trying to fight for ILP and CEA is from a fear factor, and that has to be addressed first. and you know, that you have to check the matter whether it is right or not. Do you really agree with that, sir? Or there are more things, there are something more than just the fear factor?
No, as I said, these are issues which the new coalition or the new government, when it takes over in March sometime, will have to address. And these are issues which should not fester. They should be decided upon, taking into expertise, you know, constitutional experts, legal experts, and the faster it is done, the better. Because you see, if such issues fester for a long time, then, you know, there is fear, you know, that, you know, the state of Meghalaya, which is a major tourist destination, for example, might be affected by the implementation of the ILP or various other acts. There could be various other ways of taking care of these fears that allay the general population in our state. And perhaps once again, I think so, as a geographically landlocked state, we have to take a wider worldview on the subject, essentially, and see that if it is implemented or not implemented, the issues should not fester. They should be decided upon at the earliest in the short term mandate of the new government.
I would like to come to Aristotle on that. You know, the first question: if a coalition government comes, do you think that issues like ILP and CA will take a back seat?
Let's look about the history of ILP and the resolution of the last assembly on ILP. The resolution was passed based on coercion. When the pressure group, they they demanded the elected members to come to the assembly and pass a resolution. But it is not in the heart of the political party for an ILP, I tell you. So they may have in the manifesto just to attract voters, just to please everybody. But why? Because the legislators, those who elected members, the previous government, they understand what the central government said on ILP. So they understand, but the general public, they don't understand.
I think we'll have to just continue that again later. We'll have to go to Polo now, where we have our correspondent Vishal Baristo from Polo. We'll get the latest updates from Polo.
The leads that we are getting in here at the Polo ground is NPP 24 followed by UDP 8, and surprisingly BJP is on the third position, 7. It is very heartening to see how BJP has performed, because last time it scored 2 seats, but this time it is almost 4 times, and BJP was very, very optimistic of its gains here in Meghalaya, because it was contesting on all 60 seats, though we had elections on 59 seats, but BJP made it very clear that it is going to contest on all the seats on its own. When I spoke to Congress Sangma earlier in his constituency, he was saying that we would look for a post-poll alliance with like-minded parties, and he was very much praiseful of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying that he is the tallest leader that we have, and what he has done for the North is nobody else has done. Remember when Conrad Sangma says this just before elections, before a single vote is cast, it was quite an indication that NPP was still looking for an alliance with BJP. Now, if we look at the leads, NPP, I beg your pardon, has 24 seats, still short of the magical 31 figure. And though it can have a support from UDP, because last time also both parties contested separately. Even BJP was not part of the alliance, but we saw eventually they all came together. So this time also we can see all a post-poll alliance happening in Meghalaya. If we look, consider the trends as trends and leads as the final result, though it is still a long way to go. But as far as NPP is concerned, it is definitely emerging as the single largest party in Meghalaya, and at the same time BJP can become a kingmaker, and BJP would very much like to enjoy that, because it would have its terms and conditions. let me tell you that BJP is contesting this election not to win, but to make inroads in Meghalaya politics, and BJP is also eyeing 2024 elections, which is going to be the general elections. We already know that BJP is now a force to reckon with in the 8 states of Northeast. They have a comfortable majority. In Assam, they returned with a comfortable majority. They are also on the verge of forming a government in Nagaland. Tripura, they are also doing well. They already have a government in Manipur, in Arunachal, and Sikkim. So overall, BJP is eyeing Northeast as a new venture, and BJP is doing so well. So going by the trends, NPP is the single largest party, but we can hope for a post-poll alliance.
Thank you, Vishal, there from Polo. That was really, we can say, a jolt, or maybe not a jolt for many, but yes, quite an unpredictable, an unpredictable change of things, as we may say. Now, before I would like to go to Dr. P. M. Pasa on what we just saw latest from Polo, I'll just like to continue with Ba Aristotle on what we were talking about.
Okay, you see, we on ILP, we know the stand of the central government on ILP. We clearly know that, and we also understand the feeling of the pressure group on ILP. So I'm afraid that this issue of ILP will be a game of politics after the formation of the government. As I said earlier, that we will have a coalition government, and with the new entrants in the government, new political parties, some political parties from Khasi and Giant Hill, they will be part of the government, and the new faces also in the government. So I think that they will raise again the issue in the House. I'm sure for that, because in their manifesto they have mentioned about ILP. They will raise, so the ILP will be discussed again, I think, in the House. So not just because it is what those who lead the government wants to discuss ILP, but there are people from within the coalition who wants to debate on the ILP.
I think we look at the latest 2023 election in Tripura. What we can see, the BJP is leading with 32, the CPI leads with 12, and the TMP leads with 10. That is the situation in Tripura. And we just heard from our correspondent in Polo that there is a lot of positive, BJP lead, where it's leading by 11, the INC is leading by 5, and the NDPP is leading by 23. This is in Nagaland. These are the latest updates, the inputs that we are receiving from the various parts of Northeast, and of course we do have our very own as well. Well, I would like to go to PM Prasad from the BJP with what we just saw, from Polo just now, and I think that's really for a lot of us, the fact that BJP is running 3rd position till now, and this is 4 times than what it had performed earlier on. Was this expected, or is this something new? What is your stance on that?
Well, yeah, BJP expects to do well in this election. It expects up to 11 seat that it will be secured. Even one agency which had done the post-poll assessment also expected that BJP will secure up to 11 seats. But we don't know, in fact, until the total result is out. But certainly BJP will have a big hand in forming the government, and maybe this time it will have much more powerful in dictating or guiding the government in Meghalaya.
Okay, so you must be happy so far, so good for BJP is doing pretty well?
Yes, but as I said, let us wait till the final result is out.
I would like to ask about Alan Tree, at what we just heard from Polo just now, that BJP is running 3rd position.
Yes.
So was this expected, or what is your stand on that, sir?
That is another surprise.
I know.
Now we'll have to wait and see when the final tally is out, because these are just leads. Things are subject to change. So we'll wait and see.
Okay, the same question will go to Bakit Borlang. What is your take on what we just saw from Polo just now? BJP running as third.
It's really surprised me when I see the leading in the screen. But what I can say, as I have said, at the end of the day, we have to accept the mandate of the people. Go out.
But is this expected?
No, actually, it's not that. I mean, it's not expected by me and my party. But thing has changed during this last, maybe last 2-3 days or weeks. So when it's happened like this, so it has just to accept it.
But Lord Shai?
Yeah, we are looking at the leads, but I would like to see also whose trial, who's the second. Because eventually when the result is out, we have seen that in many constituencies that the margin is not above 500 also. There are certain constituencies where a candidate wins by some, within 100 votes.
100 something, correct.
So, like I said earlier, until the last vote is counted, then we can say something about it.
That's right. Dr. Fabian?
Yeah, everything is happening not as expected by all parties. But, okay, as others said, we have to wait till the end, because in the morning we heard in Nongkrem that NPP is leading, but now it seems that BPP is leading. So the votes are changing, depending on the polling stations. Who is stronger in which polling stations? So we have to wait till the end of the.
So, but then is this a surprise for you, sir, that it's leading at number 3, the latest that's coming in from Polo? Or was this expected?
We do not expect BJP to be coming to number 3. See? But even that is not a final result. It is just a leading result. The final result will tell which is number 1, which is number 2, and number 3. Final result will tell us.
I think that is also the beauty of the fact that we are in this room discussing all this, the nuances and the predictions and how much of what is coming to reality. That is, I think, really something that's tickling all of us here and everyone else in Meghalaya. I'd like to go to Sir Solomon on the latest update from Polo. So, sir, the BJP running in third. What is your observation?
The BJP is in power in the center. And I perhaps remember, and I draw your attention to history of 1973 when perhaps the APHLC essentially was asked to merge with the Indian National Congress. And essentially, after a period of time, essentially the APHLC dissolved and broke into various factions. And essentially a Congress government was set in. So perhaps, I do not know whether history would repeat itself, whether the party which aligns with the BJP, which would be in a minority in the coalition, would essentially lead the same way as in the old days of 73 to 76. I see those signs. I might be wrong, but history could prove itself correctly.
Correct. But Aristotle, your take on what has just happened in Polo, BJP coming in as a third strongest. What is your take? Was that predictable? Was that not predictable?
It's unpredictable because it's surprising. Surprising that it has come to the third position. If it is second, then we can say, let's see. But it has come to the third, I am surprised.
So did you expect a second then? Or
second.
Or lesser than that? Lesser than third?
It has come to third, I put at third.
So is it up to the expectation? Is it too much above our expectation? Or was it, what is your...
It's too much above the expectation. That's all, because you see the boat is counting, so I cannot say as long as the pendulum is swinging, so I cannot say where it will stop. So it's difficult.
Correct. Ba'Lur Shai, Lingwa, your take on what has just happened in Polo?
As a party, for us it's a concern, because when it has come to the third positions in Polo, which means the huge amount of vote share it has
Yes.
been able to garner. So for us, it's another alarming stage, for our party, because we can see that the BJP is coming up with its vote share, which it is increasing, in fact.
Yeah. Ba Kit Borlang, what is your take on what we just saw in Polo just now? Is it surprising? Is it predictable from your party stand?
Very surprised. It's unpredictable. Yeah.
And any expectation, any take that you can take na kay kabak yo imentan Polo, baka BJP kala wan ko ba siya ka number ka banlay. Enta. Ti kay let's say nakalyang ka jongpi ka ba pila ba ong pila sngolingo ne kalong kiki ka ba pila mudur bakan sa longkum ni.
Hagajing siya nakamta ki wi party nga nam nodon ban
And yan nakalyang jongpi.
Henry habang yung kan result kalong ba panlango siya namta jong ni namar ba ho ni don ke jong baka BJP kala ban kamle ba kan ki election nai nom expect hadu kat ka ne kan seat Henry kung boong kini ki wi ki parlok panalis na try nya pe hi hadu ban akot hi ka raw bakhatu e kaching nyaw ki vote dai ban ong baka BJP kala ban secure hadu kat nom ne nyaw sit dai
Third position.
third position te along ke ka ba ngan lo ban ong kumway na kinong three party kalau ba pan candidate siya
Iba voluntary.
Ka joy ka jinsko nomor ba BJP persi kamtam hangni po Khasi Jainte Hills kadang jenjar ban gain acceptability. That was the stand that a good number of political observers used to hold, and then it stepping up to third position with leads in 7 seats. So it is surprising, but like I said earlier, these are just leads. It is subject to change. But Pasa said in Nongkrem earlier it was NPP, now it's VPP. So we'll see at the end of the result.
Now coming back to the question I was asking by Aristotle and others, I would like to ask by Alan again the same question. Do you think that if a coalition government is formed, let's say even if UDP is there, do you think the ILP and the CEA will take a back seat?
No, I don't think so, because see, the ILP, the State Assembly had passed a unanimous resolution in which all parties had agreed to ask the centre to implement ILP. So ILP taking a back seat by the new dispensation will only be if the central government maintain its current stance of examining the entire proposal. Otherwise, I think with the pressure groups going hammer and tongs over this, no government can remain silent. And so far as the CAA is concerned, our scheduled areas are exempted from its purview. So,
but Alan, I think I'll come back to you.
Sure.
We have our correspondent from Nongstoin, Rapport. Rapport, Rungsngan. The ka latest na Nongstoin ka pidan banyak tu ingi.
Ta ngapo anong stone consistency ka jingkun gede hapreng ka ANC bat ka NPP ti ka ANC hadu mentaga tahun round kala yo prahajan reus pak san polai bot bat ka NPP riu hajar kandai spak kandai bobot te ukurtong jongga ANC ulatam khan reus pak riu polai bot yang ukurtong jongga NPP te nabanta ka Mausen Road ukurtong ka HSPDP ulayo kat kandai hajar san poprabot kat ba ukurtong ka NPP ulayo kandai hajar kandai spak nyop sabot te
Kurtonga HSPP utam San Hajar Prap Sobot ya Kurtonga NPP hapa motion road. Katba namta karam raipan Kurtong independen RG Momen uyo Prahajar Sauspa nyo Prabot. Katba Kurtong ka HSPP uyo Ndriujar Kandai Spa Saupabot. Ti Kurtonga independen utam khat Cijar Sanspa Live for Prabot ya Kurtong ka HSPP bawan baar. Mulai.
Di rabor ngi kwa ban shukili phi hato kini ki kidak kini ki ba POE menta ki voting kilong ki ba phila la predict lupa ne kalong kum ka ka ba thamai ka ba jia support nong stan motion road bis ki tanj to hato kani ka lead ba ka congress ka don hanong stan bar ka HSPDP ha motion road te kini ki long ki ba phila expect na ki tanj to
10,280. Thank you.
ni kadong ka jung pher ka election menta ka sen satu so hari mengi yoi ka tu na nong stand ngan kwa ban net bet directly sa iba lur shai so you can tell us what is the feeling right now after that news.
In fact, it's already expected from our party side that we may win this seat. And as counting is still going on, so I will not put my hopes too high because like I said earlier, things can change. But then we had very high hopes and expectation from this Northside seat for our party. And we hope to win this seat this time.
Okay, so it's filling your expectation.
Yes.
Now I would also like to continue asking you, you have a lot of new faces in Congress this time. And what are the new things, the new changes, or what is Congress banking on this time?
These new candidates have brought in new ideas with a new mindset with how to improve and develop the state, especially in improving the financial status of the state, to bring in more revenue to the state. So we have been working together, and since it's too early, because most of our sitting MLAs have jumped to other parties, so we have to start afresh with our new leaders, Vincent Para, who's coming to the seat. For us, it's a blessing. In fact, it is a blessing because new entrants have come, and they have contributed a lot, and most of them are very highly educated from reputed institutions in the country. So I'm very happy for that, and for us, we see it as an opportunity, to work for the entire state as a whole.
Okay. I think we're going to Nongpo, right? Okay. All right. I'd like to ask Ba Allen on your take at what the Nongstan and the Motion Road and these areas, the latest that we saw just now. What is your take on that, sir?
Well, it was on expected lines.
Again, unexpected.
No, it is on expected lines.
Okay, expected. All right. Okay. And your take on your party's performance so far?
Well, we did have hope that our candidate from Nongstan would make a mark, but as it appears, he's still lagging behind. So that's a little bit on the downside for me and my party.
Yeah. So okay, I think we're going to Ibadahun Ramde from Nongpo. Let's look at the latest updates from Nongpo.
Whenever you come this side, this person will become there.
Like that or what? I think better.
Okay, okay, all right. I think we'll come back to Nongpot later. As Alan just now said, it's again, it's a jolt from the blue. What we had just seen, what's happening in Nong Seng. Of course, we're very eager to know what's happening in Nongpot and the rest of Meghalaya as well. Coming to Dr. Fabian of the TMC, you know, at what we just saw from Nong Seng, Maushan Road and these areas, what is your take on that, your observation?
It depends. Election in Meghalaya depends on the candidates. As a party, we encourage our candidates. We always say that you have to win, and there is possibility of winning. But that is the way how a party functions. We cannot say that you are going to lose or you are useless. We don't say that. But winning elections in Meghalaya does not depend much on the party so far, but on the personality of the candidates. So we see from the TMC in West Khasi Hills, we are not there in the picture. So maybe the personality of the candidate from the Congress party appeals more to the people. So it is their right to give the choice. Simply.
Dr. P.M. Pasa, what is your take on what we just saw, the latest that the Congress is leading in Nong Seng?
Oh yes, BJP in fact didn't expect any change in West Khasi Hills in all the constituencies. Though he set up all the candidates in all the constituencies, but he did not really expect too much from.
But I'll just come back to you again. We'll just have to go to Nongpot again now. Let's go to Nongpot. We're eager to hear from Ibadahun, the latest poll results from Nongpot.
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, I am here in Nongpot, Riboy district, to witness the results of the general election to the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly. We are here waiting for the results of the 5 ST constituencies here in Riboy district, namely Umroi, Nongpot, Mahati, Jirang, and Umsning Assembly constituency. The crowd are enthusiasts who wait and very excited to know who are the winning candidates and their candidates, and the counting is almost done. We are up to the 5th round, so up to the 5th round in Nongpot, UDP candidate Meral Bon is still leading, and in Mahati, INC candidate Charles Marnad leading from Mahati, and in Ubroi, NPP candidate Damanbat Lamare still leading from Ubroi, and Jirang NPP leading by so many votes, sitting MLA of Jirang, Sostunus Sotin, candidate from NPP is leading from Jirang, and from Umsning, INC candidate Dr. Celestin Lingdo is still leading from Umsning constituency. So here are the updates from Riboy, Nongpot as of now.
Okay. Okay, that was the latest update from Nongpot. But for now, we'll have to wind up our first session. We'll have a short break, after which we will be coming up. Thank you to all the panelists for the first half of the poll results that we've discussed so far, for all your valuable insights. We'll be coming back after this break.